All right. Do you know your lines?
I think so.
All right. Let's start with Gimli.
What's happening out there?
No. Cut.
What?
Make it more dwarvish, more growly.
What's happening out there?
Okay. I don't want you to be Batman.
I'm a girl. I can't sound more growly.
Yes, you can. Try it again.
No, I can't do it. What's happening out there? Shall I describe it to you? Or would you like me to find you a box?
Why does your Legolas sound like he's stuck up?
Because he is kind of stuck up. Because he's an elf.
He sounds
so
like
he's superior.
You're making him sound like Snape.
Oh my god.
One more take.
I wish I sounded like Alan Rickman.
Come on, one more. Give me one more Legolas.
Shall I describe it to you? Or would you like me to find you a box?
Perfect. Okay. Now give me Gimli's laugh. All right. I see we're not going to go anywhere with
Sounds
this.
like Santa.
Yeah. So, you know what? And while you take a break and you practice that, why don't we watch a dwarf and an elf enjoy Nashville-Style chicken? Hello, welcome to A Novel Console, your weekly podcast where we talk about books, games, food, and stuff that caught our attention during the week. My name is Chris, and with me is my beautiful co-host and wife, Karradyne.
Hello.
You're stuck on Gimli mode?
No, if I were still stuck on Gimli mode, it would have been, hello. It's like my pirate voice.
That is terrible.
Go back and listen to the pirate episode. That intro was funny.
That intro was great.
I think, was that the first cold open that we did?
Yeah, that was the first cold open, and it was pretty... I think it's been our best one, and
we've steadily gone downhill since then.
Yeah, so just go listen to that episode if you're not going to listen anymore. Just at least listen to the cold open. It'll be long enough for us to get a download counted into our downloads.
Thanks.
Which, you know what? We hit 500 downloads yesterday.
Pretty pitiful, but
actually,
yay.
We did hit 500 downloads like a couple of days ago. We just noticed that we hit it yesterday. So, 500 downloads in 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, we get like 2 listens per episode, so that's not bad at all.
We just need to do more advertising.
We do.
Don't look at me.
You're the one that's good at that, so
oh, God.
It has to be your job. So... Usually we make a joke about something being something and then it ends up being our Patreon supporters, but we didn't come up with one this time, so here it is. Our Patreon supporters pay $2 a month so they can support us and our podcast and everything else that we do, and they get entered into giveaways that we do sometimes. We promise we're going to announce this month's giveaway soon. We haven't had a chance to figure out exactly what, but once we do, we'll let you guys know, and we'll go ahead and pick somebody to win. It's $2 a month. You can sign up at patreon.com/anovelconsole. $2. And we started uploading at least a weekly episode up there. Usually they're anywhere from, 10 to 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So short listens, but worth it. And we do polls there too, so it's all good. We also did something on our socials today.
We did. We asked a question.
What did we ask?
We asked... if you're getting a stimulus check, what's the stupid thing that you would do with it?
Yes, we did ask that. So, Karradyne, if you got your stimulus check today and you didn't have to pay any bills and you didn't have to be a responsible adult, what would you waste this money on?
All bookish things. I'd buy bookish t-shirts. I would buy books. There's a big candle sale tomorrow. I'd buy all the candles that I want. I would buy props for Bookstagram, aka I'd go to Michael's and Hobby Lobby and lose my shit, with coupons, of course. And I'd go to Taco Bell.
What would you get at Taco Bell?
Lots of cheese quesadillas with extra cheese and extra sauce.
We also got somebody that said Taco Bell in the comments.
Yes, but she's crazy and she eats weird things at Taco Bell.
What did she say that she would eat? This was Alex, my cousin.
Endless Crunchwrap Supremes. Alex, those Crunchwrap Supremes are not that good. I don't understand your thought process here.
She also said that she'd buy a lot of cat toys.
That reminds me, I would need to go get more toys for Luna. Maybe we should get Luna a friend. if we could do whatever the hell we wanted with it.
That's right.
Granted, that would take the whole thing, if not more.
We could get her a hedgehog.
Have you seen those viral photos of that little hedgehog that they've been taking around the world?
No.
Oh my god, they're the cutest pictures ever. You should look it up.
I will.
Yeah, so some other comments on Instagram that we had. My friend Carmen said a girls' night out. That's a really fucking expensive girls' night out. Damn.
I mean, I would have a girls' night out and just blow $1,400 on drinks.
Ooh, we could
Which would be like 3 drinks at downtown.
We could do like the thing at the movie theater where you can rent out a private theater just to you and your friends and gorge yourselves on popcorn and alcohol.
So it would just be you, me, and Luna.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that. So mine, I have on Facebook, I have Julian. He said that obvious choice would be to travel after he gets vaccinated.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good idea.
We could go to New Zealand and see the hobbit holes.
I guess. And I also have my buddy Miguel. He commented and he said that he would waste the entire stimulus check on an AC unit because he's in Puerto Rico and Puerto Rico is hot as balls.
Do y'all not have AC
No,
in Puerto Rico?
houses don't have central AC units.
What the fuck? You got like window AC units or fans or what?
So we have obviously fans. Everybody has a fan. But we also have window mounted units, which are the little box AC units.
Right.
And we have inverters.
How well do those things work?
Inverters?
No, the window units.
They are awesome.
Really? But
Yeah.
do they only work for that room, right?
Yeah, they only work for that room. In my old apartment in Puerto Rico, we would like close all the windows and just put the one in my room on blast and open the door, and it would cool off the entire apartment. But it was a lot of electricity. And finally, my cousin Saren said that she would spend her stimulus on bills, which is
What we're all gonna do.
Yeah, it's the fantasy of a lot of people to be able to pay their bills.
Paying the bills is unfortunately a very necessary evil, and that is ultimately why we are being given this money. So, yeah.
So you know what I would spend this money on if I could?
What?
Apart from, a PS5 or an Xbox Series X.
What?
I would spend it on 2 bongs, right?
What?
Even though we don't smoke weed, I would get 2 bongs, right? And each one would be a monkey. It would be a monkey with one hand holding a banana and the other one holding his wiener. And both of them would be alternate because in one of them you can burn the weed on the wiener and suck out the banana. And the other one you would burn the banana and suck out the wiener.
You're fucking ridiculous.
And I would have both monkeys have like this noise system inside that where if you were sucking on the wiener, the monkey would sound like he was having an orgasm. Or if you were sucking out the banana and burning his wiener, he would be screaming in pain.
I want a divorce.
It would be hilarious.
That's ridiculous.
And I would make it so that the wiener would be whatever the red rose gold version of red is. So it would be like
red gold
wiener. Like a little red rocket that you're sucking off or burning off for the monkey.
I can't.
It would be awesome.
No.
Why not?
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And that's what we're all about.
Oh,
but we're also halfway through Middle-earth March. This is the 2nd episode. And I'm not too excited about this one. But
that's okay. I'm excited enough for both of us.
I know you were saying that you were ready to talk about the 2 Towers that you finished. You even finished it early. So.
I read it in 2 days.
Yeah, you did.
Less than 48 hours.
We did. Oh, also, a friend of mine has been wanting for me to shout him out for a while now. I keep forgetting to do it. So this is it. Hey, John, I know you listen to every week. Thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. You're one of the 500, and we love you for it.
Thank you.
So, are you ready to go ahead and get into book talk?
I'm so ready.
All right, so this is book talk.
This week's book is The Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien, originally published in the United Kingdom by Allen and Unwin on November 11th, 1954, which makes me really excited because November is my birth month. I share a birth month with a Tolkien novel. Yes, I am nerd. Hear me roar.
And you didn't know this until now?
Nope. I had no idea. It's also Veterans Day. Don't know if Veterans Day was a thing in 1954. I'm assuming it probably was. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to move on. Okay. So, I think I've said a few times now that I always said The Two Towers was my least favorite. A bit of a sufferer of the middle child or middle book, in this case, syndrome. I honestly have no idea why I felt this way. The Two Towers truly is an epic installment of the trilogy that is action-packed and honestly just really fucking cool. Some of the major things that I want to touch on in this review are the ends, specifically Treebeard, because duh, the return of Gandalf the White, Grishnak, the friendship of Gimli and Legolas, and where the book ends. So, we all know that once the Ents see what has happened at the edge of Fangorn and in Isengard, they go total badass and save the day. But what they don't touch on in the films is Gandalf addressing that Saruman is straight up idiot for not factoring Treebeard in his master plan to become the second most powerful entity in Middle-earth.
Wait.
What?
Who was supposed to be the most powerful entity? Was it...
Saruman's plan was to become the second most powerful.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Treebeard being the second most powerful.
Saruman did not factor in Treebeard in his plan.
Okay, I get it now.
Yeah, sorry. Wording. Weird. Blech. Gandalf states in The Two Towers that Treebeard is the oldest living thing in Middle-earth. Someone who even used to be friends with Saruman. The specific quote is, Treebeard is Fangorn, the guardian of the forest. He is the oldest of the Ents, the oldest living thing that still walks beneath the sun upon this Middle-earth. So there's like this huge debate on some of the forums if he is, in fact, older than like Sauron, Galadriel, etc. Who knows, but Treebeard is epic and deserves way more street cred than he gets.
You imagine if they actually put like young Treebeard in the Amazon show?
That would be really cool.
That'd be really weird. Just imagine him like running around and killing orcs like if he was Legolas or something. Just shooting woods out of his fingers.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen, because I feel like Treebeard and his romp through Isengard was like the first time he ever did anything like that. But who knows? I guess we'll find out.
I guess we'll see.
Alright, now the thing that I found pretty cool and intriguing about the return of Gandalf as Gandalf the White in the book is that in the movie they really play up thinking Saruman is the White Wizard wandering the woods of Fangorn, and in The Two Towers, the book, before Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli are reunited with Gandalf, they do see a stooped figure of a man wandering the woods. They ask Gandalf when they're finally reunited if it was him, and he confirms that it was not. Which then made me just a little bit bummed that they didn't run into Saruman first in the movie. It would have made the shock of seeing Gandalf like even that more epic.
So who was the stooped figure? Was that Saruman?
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't the creepy weirdo woods guy.
Radagast?
Yes.
He's not creepy. He's adorable.
He's covered in bird shit.
He's adorable. He just loves the animals more than he loves himself.
Okay.
Or at least in Peter Jackson's world, he does.
Sure.
I need to read more, find out more about him. Because I think that might just be like a total Peter Jackson interpretation.
Might be.
Anyway. Now, Grishnak, and the moment where I felt like a very, very bad Lord of the Rings fan. A couple years ago, a Grishnak Funko Pop was released as like an exclusive or something like that, like a convention exclusive, and I absolutely had to have it. It was one of the many Funko Pop quests on which I had to send Chris while I was at work because he had more flexibility with work than I did, and he could go do things during the day. So I remembered wondering who the hell Grishnak was when the pop was first announced. But when I saw the photo, I instantly knew it was the orc who really just wants to eat Merry and Pippin's legs, because they don't need those, do they? And chases them into Fangorn, ultimately to be squashed by Treebeard. Treebeard again! Awesome! Pretty sure the egotistical Uruk-hai leading the pack did not deign to utter the name of a lowly orc like Grishnak, so I feel like I can pretty confidently say that his name is not ever said in the movies. I could be wrong. If it is said, it's like really brief.
I think I did hear it. I think it was
Really?
mentioned like very, very briefly. It was just like one mention and that's it.
We're gonna need to like go pull up this scene right now.
You want me to pause the podcast so that we can look this up?
No.
Okay.
But when I heard his name in the book, I felt like a complete and total idiot. Like, of course, Funko knew his name because of the books, if it's not said in the movie, because I'm an idiot. This is where I might get a little bit teary. The friendship of Legolas and Gimli. Obviously, their friendship is highlighted in the movies, but something happens in the Two Towers that I had completely forgotten about. Legolas kind of falls in love with Fangorn and feels it's speaking to him and shit and wants to return one day after their quest is over. He and Gimli, despite Gimli's straight-up fear of the forest, make a pact to explore the wonders of Middle-earth together once they're done playing their part in saving the world. They will return to Fangorn and explore the mountains like Moria together, and that's just fucking beautiful to me.
Gimli and Legolas are a better couple than Sam and Frodo.
They really are. There's a lot less drama in their relationship.
Yeah, and there's
more give and take.
Yeah, no third wheel, like sowing the seeds of deceit between them.
Deceived?
Between.
Deceived?
Between.
Deceived between.
Between. Deceit in between.
Yes, they have no Gollum. They only have Aragorn. I like to think...
And they're just trying to please Aragorn the entire time.
I like to think that Aragorn, would have agreed to go on their adventures with them, but, he had king things to do, so they didn't even bother asking him.
They know that if they would have asked him, he would have said, "Oh, who needs to be king? Let's go.
Right?
Let's go explore.
Right?
Let's go explore Moria."
Exactly.
If Gandalf, Gimli, I'll go to Moria with you guys. I really want to go kill some dark elves.
Lastly, How the Two Towers, the book, ends. In case you haven't seen the movies, as recently as I have, let me remind you where the Two Towers, the movie, ends. Smeagol has just been betrayed by Master and is feeling rather Gollum-ish. He makes the plan with himself that he will kill the hobbits, but she is going to do it. We don't find out until the return of the king who the fuck she is. However, the book ends after poor Frodo has already been stuck by a nasty Shelob, and has been found first by Sam and then the orcs, and Sam overhears the orcs confirm that Frodo is in fact not dead. I'd say that's a bit more of a cliffhanger than what Peter Jackson gave us. I had completely forgot that was where the book ended.
I don't hate where Peter Jackson finished the movie. So to me, it didn't mean anything to me because I had no idea what the fuck was going on the first time I saw it. I could barely understand what Gollum was saying, and I couldn't keep up with the subtitles in Spanish.
You couldn't understand me, precious.
And I don't think it was a bad cliffhanger in the movie. Now, if it would have been the one in the book, I still wouldn't have felt like it was a bad cliffhanger
no, I'm not
either
saying
because
it was a bad cliffhanger.
I didn't know what was going on.
It wasn't a bad cliffhanger. It was just it was a more gentle hangover.
Cliffhanger?
It was a more gentle cliffhanger. Oh, God.
No, it ain't as terrible as the cliffhanger from...
The Desolation of Smaug.
Yes,
I am fire.
Hated that. I was so mad.
Death. What have we done? Boom, it's over.
I hated it.
Oh, it was so good.
And immediately after it ended,
ending.
I had to put the other one in so I could see what the hell happened. I was so mad.
Think about us folks who saw it in the movie theater on premiere night.
I would have sent death threats to...
Death threats?
Death threats. I'm not Englishing. I would have sent death threats to Peter Jackson because of that ending. If he would have made me wait an entire year.
Amazing.
What an asshole.
I love it. It was epic.
Those three movies, even though he added a lot of shit to them, they were pretty good.
They were.
Pretty damn good.
He did
not
a
as
good
great
job.
as the original trilogy, but pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So I just can't see myself following a band of dwarves.
Why? They're so much fun, and they sing really well.
I'm 6'3".
I feel like
I would be
Gandalf
looking
is pretty tall.
I would be looking all over the elves.
Wait, what?
It's I'm 6'3" tall. I would be looking all over them, and they would be telling me we gotta go that way. I'm like, No, that place is way too short for me. I can't take directions from somebody so short.
I can't.
So what else do you want to say about the book?
That was pretty much all. Overall, this one really surprised me in a very good way. I feel like Peter Jackson stayed just a little bit truer to this one. Not that I ever object with anything he does because he's brilliant. But
that King Kong movie was amazing.
Solid 5 stars and a boost in favorite status from me.
Perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and get into games and stuff. So for this week's game, we have Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. This is an action-adventure hack-and-slash game that was developed by EA Redwood Shores and published by EA Games on November 3rd, 2003 for the GameCube, PS2, and Xbox. There was also a version for the Game Boy Advance. I played and beat the GameCube version. I only played a little bit of the Game Boy Advance version. It's more the same thing as the previous one, just a hack-and-slash Diablo-style game.
Another November, baby.
Yeah, right before the release of the film, right?
Yes, if it was November of 2003, the movie would have come out in December.
Yeah.
So following the same pattern that you said the last one did.
Yeah. So this game, it's a little bit like the book. Well, no, actually it's more like the other game. You know how the other game starts once the Fellowship actually starts their journey all together and ends at Helm's Deep?
Yes.
Well, this one picks up at the end of Helm's Deep. So you actually chase the Uruk-hai army back to Isengard through Fangorn as Gandalf in the first stage, and you actually help the Ents kill the remainder of the army.
Where does this game end? Like at the end where you kill, where Frodo throws the ring in?
Yeah, it ends with...
Sounds like a long game.
It ends like actually pushing off Gollum off the
edge.
Yeah. But it's not really a long game. There's 3 paths, right? There's the wizard path, the hobbit path, and then the king path. And each one has like 5 or 6 stages. So it's roughly around almost 20 stages total. And each one is extensively long, which is something that I'm going to complain about later. But like I said, it picks up at Helm's Deep, ends with pushing Gollum off the edge. In the GameCube version, you take control of Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, Gandalf, and Sam. You can unlock Frodo, Merry, Pippin, and Faramir. And like in the last game, they all play exactly the same except for a few different attack animations.
Have you unlocked all of those characters? I mean, characters.
Yes, I did unlock those characters.
Oh, shut up.
The graphics in the game are better than in the Two Towers. Over the course of a year and with the changing of studios, Return of the King has a very noticeable improvement in graphics. The characters are more detailed and the stages themselves do have more detail. And they are bigger than they were in the previous game, so they do help create that sense of immersion that was very hard to create back in those days, but they started getting the hang of it. And I'm glad they did because now immersion is bananas. The animation in the game is better than in the Two Towers, but it's still stiff. The animations have been improved over the last game. Most of the characters move exactly like they did in the movie, from Gandalf's run animation, which is kind of weird, to the hobbits moving about low and swiftly. There's not much I can say about the animations because they are almost the same as they were in the previous game, but they don't feel like the cutscene started being recorded a bit too early. So I guess that's an improvement. The sound design is perfection. Just like in the previous game, the soundtrack is the exact same one from the movie. So if you're familiar with the movies, then you'll feel right at home with the soundtrack.
I'm very familiar with the soundtracks.
Yeah,
a little too familiar.
We went to Wawa to get drinks, and we were listening to the
Return
soundtrack.
of the King soundtrack the whole way there.
I'm tired of it.
I'm in love with it. I could listen to it all day, every day.
Most of the entire Fellowship returned to voice their characters in the game, except for Viggo Mortensen and Orlando Bloom.
What? They came back for the last one, but not for this one?
Yeah.
That's bullshit. Why?
I think maybe Viggo would have been recording that one movie on the horse, And
Oh, Hidalgo.
yes,
We
and,
went to see that because we had girl crushes, or at least we thought we did.
and I think
Not girl
Orlando.
crush, but whatever.
I think Orlando was recording Pirates.
Pirates!
Yeah.
Will Turner.
Yeah, but even Billy Boyd was back to record his lines.
Why is the rum always gone?
I don't know. So the voice acting is still very clear, and it does hold up incredibly well, even though the game is almost 20 years old. The sword strikes and bow shots all sound like the typical fare. They're not terrible. They aren't anything new. In short, the same phenomenal attention to detail as the previous game is present in this one. So they did a really good job there. And the gameplay holds up incredibly well. The same simple system in which you're graded between fair, good, excellent, and perfect is back. Based on how you're graded, you get more experience points that help you level up and can be used to buy your upgrades. The upgrades range from extra health, new attacks, more damage to your attacks, better equipment, and there's a slight change to that formula. And is that by paying a little bit more of experience points, you can actually unlock most skills and boosts for the entire fellowship. So it makes it that much more easier to have the skills already unlocked for an underlevel character with which you might be having issues with in a stage. So while you're in that stage and you have an underlevel character, if you have bought all the upgrades with somebody else and you have paid the extra to have them unlocked for the fellowship, that one character, once he levels up, will have access to that. Let's say it's a health increase, his health will increase immediately once you level up. So it just makes for the whole progression of the game that much more easier. Like in the previous game, you start out relatively weak, but unfortunately, you start out so weak that it becomes a hassle. And you have to play the stages multiple times so that you figure out exactly how to beat them, where to go, and where all the enemies are hiding. But once you start buying upgrades, you start feeling stronger, which helps create a power fantasy where your character is just an orc killing machine.
This is that game we played that one time, right?
Yes.
That's why we had to keep trying to fight the ghosts a million times.
Yes, because I kept
throwing the catapults.
Because I kept trying to figure out exactly what we had to do so that we can both stop dying.
It was infuriating.
We spent 45 minutes in just that
one
fight.
Stage.
On the fight.
Yeah.
That was just the fight without leaving the place.
Right.
Because it was then another 30 minutes to get out while we figured out exactly what was coming from where.
It was like a time sink. I mean, it was I had fun, but...
I mean, it's fun, but it's just not very new player friendly. But so like I said earlier, all the characters control the same. They have a sort of throwing weapon. Legolas and Aragorn have their bows. Gimli has axes. Sam has knives, etc. And they also have an attack weapon, a sword for Aragorn, double blade for Legolas, an axe for Gimli, and a sword or sting for Sam. And it glows blue when enemies are nearby.
That makes me happy.
It is. It's so cool. You have a basic fast strike and a basic heavy strike, a kick and a floor stab, and a parry button. All of these can be combined into certain inputs to dole out new attacks, which all feel natural and familiar once you practice them enough. So, basically the same formula as the last game. I actually changed a couple of words in the script just to make it different from last week's because it's literally almost the exact same thing.
I mean, weren't they made like by the same?
No.
No.
Oh. Stormfront did the Two Towers, which I think is better than this one, and this one was done by EA Redwood, which is an EA studio. Although Stormfront might actually have been bought by EA and then renamed. It was in those years where news weren't really big, but you know. So let's go into the problems with the game. I have 2 complaints again, and they're somewhat the same as they were with the previous game. The checkpoint system is still garbage. You receive one checkpoint halfway through a stage and another at the beginning of whatever boss you have to fight. This wouldn't be an issue if the stages weren't so damn large. In the previous episode, I complained that the stages were too small, and because of that, the checkpoints really didn't matter. But because the stages are so big in this game, you can easily be in a stage 15 to 20 minutes before we reach a checkpoint, which means that if you die just short of reaching the checkpoint, you have to start all over from the beginning or from the last checkpoint.
What?
Yeah, that's Yeah, it's annoying. It's obnoxious. That is why it took us forever to finish that one stage.
It was very annoying. I just kind of gave up. Whenever we moved on to the catapult thing, I was over it.
Yeah, and man, so for some reason, this game has never clicked with me. It feels like it's just a little bit short of greatness. The characters don't control as great as they did in the previous game. Button inputs aren't as responsive. The enemies feel like cheap attack sponges, so they just soak up damage and deal a shit ton of damage. I really want to like this game, but I just don't. It looks amazing. It sounds amazing. And it's more Lord of the Rings movie goodness. But the gameplay itself just does not hit those notes from the Two Towers.
Which really sucks, considering that you'd think that this one would, like,
newer,
be better.
Made by a different studio. They had already a great foundation from the Two Towers. I mean, it's not a terrible game, period. But it's not perfection like the Two Towers was. For example, in the Two Towers, you start out weak, but you never felt like you could get overwhelmed or overpowered by the enemies. In this game, it feels like you're made out of glass, and it doesn't stop until you have all the power-ups that are available for purchase. It just feels like somewhere along the lines, changing developers, it lost the magic. But that's not to say I don't have praises for the game. I do have praises. Because this game is for the fans. Like in the previous game, you can unlock short videos of the characters being interviewed about their roles in the game, which, like in the previous game, it's great for conservation and record keeping. The audio is fantastic, which really adds depth and immersion to the whole experience. The graphics and attention to detail for the time show how much the developers cared about the IP, and they really did dig their hands into the material, adding new experiences to the story without ruining or adding too much to change the story, like having Gandalf chase the Uruk-hai into Fangorn.
That's pretty cool.
I
think I'd like to see that.
Yeah, it's actually a very fun stage, especially in close to the end of it. You have to kill, again, 50 Uruk-hai while the Ents are running in a circle, so kind of doing like a mosh pit and stomping. Fucking Uruk-hai.
I love that. I love the Ents so much. They're badass.
So overall, this game has me torn. Like I said, I really want to love this game as much as I love the Two Towers. It has beautiful graphics, amazing sound design that holds up incredibly well to this day, and does a great job of record keeping. But sadly, the gameplay is just not as great as the Two Towers. It does play well, but not amazingly. It does have a lot of ups and lets you experience many of the film's great action moments. But it feels incredibly cheap most of the time, especially during the first opening stages. Because of that, I sadly have to give it 4 stars. I didn't want to go any lower because it technically still is a good game.
I was about to say 4 stars is still not bad.
I know, but to me, this feels like a 3.5 star game. Mm-hmm. But I can't say it's a 3.5 star game because I'm comparing it to the Two Towers. As a game standing on its own, it's definitely 4 stars. It just a little bit more tender love and care would have pushed it over to 5. So, you know what time it is?
I do.
What time is it?
It's time for Give Me the Garbage.
All right, that is Give Me the Garbage.
Chris and I discovered this place because of the awesome Orlando foodie Mike, aka at Just POTUS on Instagram. We know Mike because of his sister Marina, who's been my friend for like as long as I've lived in Orlando, which is kind of crazy. It was almost 7 years we've been friends. Anyway, Mike is like forever at Eat Chicken Fire. We keep calling it Chicken Fire, but it is technically Eat Chicken Fire.
Yeah, but people do just call it Chicken Fire.
It's easier to say.
Yeah.
And we've been saying we needed to go for a while now, but the one time we actually tried to go before now, the line was so long out the door that we got turned off, and we wound up going to P.O.P.O., the restaurant we reviewed last week. But this week, we went back for dinner instead of lunch this time, and we were successful. Now, I know a lot of restaurants have like their own unique setup that works for them because we're still in a pandemic. Their setup was pretty unique. It is a smaller location, which then led us to realize that the line that was out the door may not have been like as bad as we thought it was. Because what you do is you go in, there's someone there to let you in the door, check your temperature and everything. You go in, you place your order, you have to go back outside, either to wait outside the door or in your car or whatever you want to do. And they call you on your phone, they take your phone number, they call you when your food is ready, and you can dine in if you want to. But I kind of got the vibe that they were trying to discourage that as much as possible.
I mean, it's fine. I wish that Sapporo, or when it was still Sapporo, or other places just like discouraged eating in there as much as possible, because I have no problem with eating in the car. I have no problem at all. I do have a problem with trying to get a table and we can't get a fucking table because there's a group of assholes sitting there just talking shit instead of getting the fuck up and leaving.
Okay, he has a big beef with Sapporo.
It always happened. A bunch
know.
of fucking nerds are just sitting there talking shit instead of getting the fuck out. And there's people waiting for the fucking tables.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Because, I mean, like, this place is just as popular as Sapporo was.
Exactly.
With a popular place, you just can't let people do that. You can't.
But going back to Chicken Fire, they serve what's called Nashville-Style chicken. It's deep fried chicken covered in a mix of spices that taste smoky, sweet, and have a lot of pleasant heat up to a certain level. For us, Chicken Fire's chicken has the perfect example of what Nashville-style chicken should be, up to a certain level.
Yeah, the up to a certain level is crucial here.
But let's talk a little bit about the chicken first. We ate it at the car. It waited, I want to say, like 5 minutes while we got from the gas station back to pick it up. And it was still crunchy. We finished eating. We didn't eat all of it because it was a shit ton of food.
We should have listened to the girl who took our order and shared something.
Yeah, so we
went in blind.
Yeah, so we didn't finish eating it at all. So we put it back in the box, hot the way that it still was. We brought it home. We shoved it in the fridge. It sat there for a day, and we just warmed it up today in the oven, and it was still just as perfectly crispy as it was that day.
Which was impressive.
Yeah. It was really, really good. So that is a big kudos point.
So basically their menu is set up where I think you can just order the chicken like in two forms. You can either get like a hot box chicken, which is just 2 chicken tenders, toast, coleslaw, and fries. Or you can get the sliders, which is 2 sliders. We're gonna put that in air quotes.
Yeah, we're gonna make fun of those sliders.
And on those sliders, you'll find the coleslaw that you would have gotten as a side in the other box.
And the pickles.
And the pickles. And some of their signature sauce. And you can get a side of fries. I don't know if we paid extra for that side of fries that I got, or if it came with
no,
it.
I think it comes with a side of fries.
It was confusing. But dear God in heaven, if you go to this place and you want the sliders, don't think that one person can eat those sliders. It is a full-blown fucking chicken sandwich. It is not a slider. Slider my ass.
They lied to us.
They lied so hard.
They aren't sliders. I mean, one of these supposed sliders is
bigger than a Big Mac.
It's bigger than whatever burger you're going to find at a fast food chain.
It is fucking huge.
It is humongous.
I was struggling. It
was like just one piece of chicken was enough to get me full. I mean, I didn't eat all my coleslaw, or I even haven't talked about my meal, but it is huge. And for the price, you can feed 2 people with one order. I mean, like, come on. I mean, you're winning.
Yeah.
And the prices are not terrible at all. We spent
$30.
Yeah, between the two of us. I mean,
on 2 meals plus.
On 2 meals plus an extra side of chicken because we thought it wasn't going to be enough.
We're idiots.
We're morons. But I had the hot box. My hot box came with the meat and the mild.
He chose the meek and the mild.
Yeah, because my buddy Edgardo had eaten there before, and he had said that he got the medium, and he was shitting fire the next day.
And I'm glad that I originally told the girl that I wanted medium. I'm looking at their heat scale. And she's like, now that it's really spicy. And I honestly get kind of offended when people say that to me. I'm like, you don't fucking understand. I like the spice. I am glad I listened to that girl and switched to the mild because I still have regrets about getting the mild.
I would have made an executive decision and changed it for you because I know for a fact you were not going to be able to handle it.
That mild killed both of us.
The mild...
we were miserable.
The medium in parentheses said very hot.
But, I mean, I feel like I can handle very hot. I don't know.
You couldn't handle the mild here.
Yeah, no, I couldn't. It killed me.
So I was trying to eat the meek first because, the lower the heat flavor, the less beating my taste buds get. So when I eat the mild, my taste buds are kind of used to it. It won't hurt that much, and I can actually taste the chicken. But I accidentally started with the mild first because it looked a little bit clearer than the meek. And let me just say it was good. It was sweet. It was smoky. It had a crazy amount of crunch, very juicy, perfectly cooked chicken. And it had a fire that kept building on itself. And to me, it didn't reach a point where it would become unbearable. It was to the point where I could handle it the most. And I think that any more kind of heat than that would just be unpleasant.
Yeah. I feel like it was kind of borderline unpleasant.
I think the mild, at least for me, is that perfect level. The meek was very sweet. It was very, very sweet, but it still had a decent amount of fire. And it was just as perfectly cooked as the mild. So the hot box comes with perfectly seasoned crinkled cut fries. It comes with a zesty sauce that's perfect for dipping the fries, which are perfectly crunchy. It comes with a coleslaw too. Unfortunately, the coleslaw was kind of like the low light of the meal because all the creamy, juicy goodness was in the bottom of the container and the top was a bit dry. It did taste pretty good. It was a bit sweet, very creamy, perfect for palate cleansing. It also had 2 pickles in the box, 1 per tender, which were perfect for palate cleansing and washing away the fire, and a piece of toast to soak up all the mess that was left inside the box. It was a pretty great experience, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, so the slider, it was very, very juicy, especially with that slaw. Now, eating the slaw by itself, it was kind of underwhelming. But on the sandwich, it was a really nice compliment.
Yeah, it's like just the slaw by itself, because all the juice was out of it. It just felt bland.
Yeah.
But if you did get a spoonful of the slaw with the juice, it was on point. It was
We've
really
also
good.
just eaten some really fucking good slaw here lately.
Fucking bonchon slaw. We would kill for some bonchon slaw right now.
I could bathe myself in a bowl of bonchon slaw. Anyway,
I would like some of those pickled radishes because Jesus, they're so good.
You can have all of them. But no, the sauce and the slaw really complemented that chicken very well. It was very hard to eat there towards the end just because that spice was just really kicking my ass.
And see, that's why the hot box, I think the hot box is better because you do have all the elements that make that amazing chicken sandwich, that's supposed slider.
A deconstructed chicken sandwich.
Yeah, because you still have the bread, you have the pickles, you have the slaw. So you can eat chicken, get as much fire as you need, and then you have that slaw to wash it away. You have that pickle to wash it away. But when you're eating it as a sandwich, unless you start picking at it, you're always going to get the same bite.
Getting all of it in one bite, yeah.
Yeah, so the slaw and the pickles are going to get contaminated by the spiciness of the chicken.
Exactly. If we had included this in our chicken sandwich lineup, maybe not with the mild, maybe with something more tame.
I ate the meek today for lunch, and that shit was great.
Well, I think it would have been a good contender for our chicken sandwich lineup. The slider that is not a slider,
yeah.
In any way, shape, or form. It is massive.
This is again one of the best chickens I've ate. It's right there. I want to say it's right underneath bonchon, but it's because bonchon is just this complete different
perfection
fucking experience. I mean, it's shit, but chicken fire, holy shit, chicken fire is good.
It's very, very crispy. I was impressed. Like even all the bites that were covered in coleslaw, pickles, and sauce were still crispy. Oh, and that sauce. They gave him a side of the sauce for his fries, and whoo, it is awesome. I think I would most closely compare it to Zach's sauce, but less zesty. Sort of similar to that.
Yeah, a little bit more peppery.
More creamy.
More peppery, less zesty. But yeah.
Very good.
I would say it's like Zach's sauce.
It's like a palate cleanser.
It's so good. And the fries, the seasoning on the fries was
the seasoning on the fries is so good.
It was like a tiny bit sweet, so when it mixed with that dipping zesty sauce, oh my god.
Mm-hmm. They were very crispy too. Crispy all around. And they air fried very well, left over today.
They did, and that's 2 days old.
Normally they'd be a soggy, sad mess.
They'd be crap.
Mm-hmm.
That just goes to show everything's just fucking fresh and
very
it's
good quality,
cooked perfectly, and they love what they're doing and they know what they're doing, which is even more important than anything.
Did we note that one of the chicken tenders that we reheated today was from the slider, so it had been covered?
So I destroyed the slider.
We deconstructed the slider.
I carried and ate the rest of the coleslaw, left a lot of the juice in the container, so I just took all the coleslaw and pickles, shoved it in there, took the patty off, cleaned off as much of the coleslaw that I could off of it, and it just sat in the box soaked in coleslaw juice, and it still reheated perfectly, and it was still crunchy.
Which is very impressive.
It is.
We reheated those in the oven, not the air fryer.
Yeah, no, I'm afraid of reheating chicken in the air fryer.
It tends to burn.
Yeah, so just
still good.
Oven is good. That perfect crisp just retained itself in the oven too. So
very impressive.
Amazing. What are we giving Chicken Fire?
I think we're gonna have to give it a garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hurt my tongue a little bit, but. Yeah. It was still good food.
Yeah, it was.
And that was partially our fault. For being stupid.
Yeah, no, this is definitely garbage. I mean, if you're in Orlando, you want some good Nashville-style chicken fire. You won't regret it. You might the next day, but not while you're eating it. And don't be stupid. Don't go above mild.
No.
So you want to go ahead and get into some housekeeping?
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and start with the Patreon. Go sign up. $2 gets you entered into the drawings. We're gonna announce soon what we're gonna be giving away next. We also have special episodes this month. We're uploading Lord of the Rings stuff. Last night we uploaded one. It's about the Fellowship of the Ring, where Karradyne and I go on tangents instead of talking about the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring. Decent episode, fun time. Please go listen. $2 a month. Thank you. Remember to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at anovelconsole, and on Facebook at facebook.com/anovelconsole. Don't forget, you can also tell your friends that they can find the podcast on most major podcast streaming platforms, and they can also listen on YouTube by searching for A Novel Console. Don't forget to tell them to subscribe, like, and comment, which we would really like if they did. You should also leave a review on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts so that more people can find us. You can also email us at anovelconsole@gmail.com, and we will read your email on the show. And our art was done by Metamorphique on Instagram. Anything else you want to say before we end the show?
Thank you for listening to my childhood fantasy play out, where all I do is talk about Lord of the Rings every day.
And we don't get paid to do it, and that's amazing.
Yep.
All right. So you want to say goodbye?
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.